What's going on, everyone? This is the CLNS Media Network's New England Patriots postgame show. I'm your host, Mike Mullen, alongside my guy, Marvin Azan. The rematch at Gillette Stadium, Patriots and the Atlanta Falcons. It looked like it's a repeat, and Patriots come out with the victory again over the Falcons, 23-7. Ugly game. Falcons didn't look like they were ready to come in with all the revenge that I felt they had built up. Came in and Patriots just swept the floor with them all over foggy Gillette Stadium.
I mean, different game, like you said, same result. Patriots come out with the win, huge 23-7 win against the Atlanta Falcons. And this may be the game, Mike. This may be the game that we look back into in this season and say, where did the Patriots really flip the switch? And it could have been this game. You hold an Atlanta defense, a Matt Ryan-led offense, to 230 yards. Patriots did not let up 300-yard passing. This is amazing. And it was to Matt Ryan. Who would have thunk it? But yes, Patriots defense was great. They let up a garbage time touchdown to Julio Jones, which was almost intercepted. And then, big boy Julio did what he had to do at the end of the game. But Patriots, man, the defense, Mike, I think the defense was the story of this game. They had a chance where Atlanta had a chance where they were at the goal line. And once again, I don't know what happens with these offensive coordinators when they get into the goal line, especially 1 yard away against the Patriots. And they just start using these wacky plays, try to do different types of screen, fake runs, all these type of plays didn't work. Patriots held them down. And defense and bad play calls by Atlanta Falcons are the reason why Patriots won this game.
Yeah, you got to give a lot of credit to the defense and the way they stepped up. You figured, looking at the Patriots' opponents since the start of the season, this would have gone down as Patriots' toughest matchup. As high-powered as Matt Ryan has been, along with his weapons and Julio Jones and Sanu and then Coleman and Freeman over there, I don't think the Patriots faced any other team with the amount of weapons that the Falcons had. So you thought, just like we probably thought, Falcons were going to come out and throw all day over this Patriots secondary that's been struggling all season long. But it was the complete opposite. Just like Marv just said, Ryan didn't give up over 300 yards. That's something that the Patriots have struggled with opposing quarterbacks, all throughout the start of the season. But at the same time, of course, we're going to say the Patriots defense played well. The Falcons just looked all out of sorts from start to finish. Didn't look like Matt Ryan was in sync with his weapons. The running game got held down and held in check for the most part. Julio Jones didn't have a huge performance as he's capable of doing. They just seemed like they weren't fully locked in, or maybe they were too locked in and just too hyped up and too caught up in the rematch, the big rematch game. And coming to Gillette Stadium, you have all the fans and you see the posters 28-3. Maybe all of that got to, Matt Ryan and the offense and the coaching staff. Maybe it got to their head just a little bit. I know these guys are athletes. They're getting paid the big bucks. They're locked into this sport. But at the same time, they're human. And if you have a situation in life, whether it's football or anything, and you screwed up and you let something slide and you wish you could just go back every day and say, I wish I didn't make this mistake. I wish I didn't do that. These guys are human. So that Super Bowl, as much as they'll probably say to the media and press conference, interviews, we're past that. We're ready to move on to this season. We're looking forward to this game, every one game at a time. They can say whatever they want. That Super Bowl 51 matchup against the Patriots is in all of their minds. And I think a part of that led to the reason why the Falcons looked the way they did tonight.
When you blow a 28-3 lead in the biggest stage, I don't think you can ever, no matter, like you said it best, man, they're human. I don't think you can ever recover from such a deficit like that. And it showed very, very much well. And when you look at the numbers, Mike, Atlanta didn't play bad. You had Julio. You said he had an okay game. By the numbers, he had a great game. 9 receptions, 99 yards, and a touchdown. You expect numbers like that from Julio. But watching the game, it was foggy. Patriots defense was all over the place. A great game by Malcolm Butler, who was all over the place. And You do this with guys not fully healthy. You don't have Dante Hightower, who left the game with a shoulder injury. You still don't have Stephon Gilmore, who's been battling headaches and concussion symptoms. So this Patriots defense now can only get better. And now next week you got a guy, Phillip Rivers, who's been struggling as well. He's not been throwing for big yardage. They're hot right now, winning 3 games in a row. But this is a team that you could really stop. And I don't know. I feel like we do this every year. I feel like every year there's something we harp on, and this defense in the beginning was horrible, trash,
point blank period.
But now, after seeing this performance, was this more of Atlanta Falcons being horrible, or the Patriots defense really knowing what they're doing?
I think it's more Atlanta Falcons being horrible. That's just my personal opinion. I mean, obviously, the defense looked good. You can't take away, like I said in the beginning, you can't take away. Butler looked good out there. They held the run in check for the most part against a Devontae Freeman, who's a powerhouse, and Coleman, who can come in at times and have big plays as well. They held them in check, but at the same time, we've seen this Patriots defense struggle against a rookie, struggle against a guy, Cam Newton, who still had questions about is he fully healthy or not. We've seen how this defense has performed against them, and for them to just come out and shut down in a team which like I said in the beginning of the show, I considered the best offensive team that the Patriots have faced so far this season. For them to come out and perform like this, I think a lot of it has to do, again, with the Falcons just off their game tonight, and along with the fact that they're still caught up in, we're facing the Patriots again. We knew what happened last time we faced them, how that they probably was hyped up a little too much and too locked in and just too caught up with everything else aside from just totally focusing on the game tonight and being ready to play. I think a lot more went into their mindset coming into this game, which led to this, just them being off and not, clicking in on all cylinders throughout the game.
And, Atlanta Falcons, this is a team that hasn't been great throughout this season. They came in here 3-2. The Patriots have not been great as well. So both teams, this was a big game for both teams. And now, Mike, if you look at the AFC, you have Kansas City now, who's dropped 2 games in a row. Patriots are now 5-2 now. They're 5-2 in the AFC. So they're right up there now in the leaderboards, and that bye week is wide open. As at first it looked like it was a little scary. You have Broncos playing very well. They've dropped some games. Kansas City was playing well. They dropped some games. So you're right up there now, leading the AFC East and in the AFC, tied in the AFC, where that bye week, we know what happens when the Patriots get a bye week. If they get that home court advantage, we could start thinking championship. So could this game right here against Atlanta Falcons start being where the Patriots start going through that championship push, where we see them knock out 6-7 games in a row, where they really start getting things going?
It needs to be. I feel like it definitely needs to be, knowing that you face a team in the Atlanta Falcons who are capable of having a big game and big performances, but you were able to do what you did tonight against them. If this is the run that the Patriots are going to go on, and it starts tonight moving forward, especially with the fact that I think coming up after next week's game against the Chargers, they go on the road for the next
5 to 6
games. 5 out of the 6 games are on the road. If you want to really show that this team is one to be reckoned with, especially going deeper into the season and trying to make a playoff push, number 1 seed, whatever the case may be, hitting the road is definitely going to be key in knocking out some big time victories while you're out there. Because if you can prove that and show that, yes, you can get it done at Gillette Stadium, but you can also step into anybody's house and have a great game behind Bill Belichick and Tom Brady and the weapons that he has, it's going to show a lot and put the rest of the league on notice that, the season maybe started off kind of shaky for the Patriots, but at the end of the day, not only the AFC East, but the AFC and the NFL is still going through the Patriots. With that being said, though, we got a couple of comments coming in late night on the show. Thanks to a couple of people staying up with us. Shout out to my guy, Jared Scally, who said, big game from Butler, and then definitely seeing his game knowing that the Patriots didn't have Rowe or Gilmore tonight, but he hopes that when those guys return, adding them back to the lineup, knowing that they're healthy and staying healthy, it could just mean greater things to come for this Patriots defense.
And not only that, now you're winning. You have Butler, regaining confidence, and you got the young guys in Joseph, Bad and Moosey, aka Bad and Boozy, going out there putting in work. So you're developing these young guys, and then when you get Rowe back, you get Gilmore. Now when you go nickel, you have confidence in these other cornerbacks, playing the third receiver, playing that fourth receiver, and that could be real big. Because this secondary, let's not forget, this secondary was going to be the strength of this team.
Yes.
So if they could start developing, Butler seems to got his mojo back. Let's see what happens.
Another comment coming in from Teddy Gonzalez saying, Pats looked awesome tonight. I totally agree with you, Teddy. It was a great game all around. Brady was doing Brady things, and the defense had a solid performance. So you got to give a shout out to the Pats, looking awesome tonight for sure. And another guy, Gotti Jr., say the defense is improving week by week, but at the same time, they need to stay healthy. And he wants to know the status of Dante Hightower. And from what we heard from the sidelines and seeing a couple tweets, I think, his shoulder, it was a shoulder injury, but with the score being what it was and as late as it was in the game, I don't think there was any real rush to have him come back into the game. I think they showed him sitting on the sidelines without his gloves on because at that point in time, they didn't really need him. The game was locked up. Patriots are going to get the win. So hopefully it's a situation. If he does have his shoulder banged up, take the time throughout the rest of the week to get the treatment, whatever you need, and hopefully return to practice later in the week and be ready to go against the Chargers.
Yeah, we'll definitely be keeping on, lookout on Hightower to see what happens with his shoulder. But I'm not too worried. Hopefully, he was questionable to come back in. Like you said, the game, there was no need to have him in there no more. You had a guy in Kyle Van Noy who, once again, second week in a row, had a really good week. So there goes for Hightower.
Absolutely. And another comment here coming in from Celtics Bird. He said Matt Ryan had a great run on 4th and 7. That was one of those plays where, you were trying to figure out why are the Falcons going for it right now at this point in the game at 4th and 7. But, he didn't see anything down the field, and he was able to pick it up with his feet. That summer, I know quarterbacks nowadays are not like Brady. Brady's not moving out of the pocket. That's Brady on 4th and 7. He's probably taking a sack, maybe going down or throwing the ball away. He'll try. He probably won't get it. But, Matt Ryan was able to do that. But, yeah, man, big play on 4th down for sure.
And that was a horrible play call as well. I feel like in primetime games, big moments, when you're facing a Bill Belichick team, offensive coordinators, coaches in the opposite team, they frizzle up, they get scared, and you see some questionable calls. It was in the first quarter. Yeah, the game just started. This punt the ball. They got through, so you can't really complain. But hey, scoreboard 23-7. But this episode is sponsored by Greats, makers of all-time Greats classic, stylish and comfortable sneakers, sold at a great price. Greats is a Brooklyn first sneaker company. They sell all Greats classic styles made the best for less. Wide selections of men and women's shoes, versatile styles suitable for any occasion. Tons of different colors and materials to choose from. Their best sellers include all leather Royale lace-up and Worcester slip-on. You can check them out along with other styles at greats.com. And we've got a special deal for our audience. Save 15% on your first order with our offer code TRAGS. Go to greats.com, that's GREATS.com, and be sure to enter TRAGS to save 15% at checkout. Greats also believes so much in their shoes, they offer a no-risk return and exchange policy to guarantee that you get in the right fit in a style you love. That's greats.com, and use our promo code TRAGS and save 15%. We thank Greats for sponsoring this podcast.
One guy who I definitely want to ask about, who kind of, I don't want to say it was a coming out party, but we haven't seen too much of him throughout the season so far, maybe here and there, but his name really hasn't been called upon. He hasn't really had any big plays, at least not up until this game. And it was fitting that he had a big game that he did today, because this was the team that he had a dominant performance against in the Super Bowl. James White, in my opinion, somewhat of a forgotten guy in the Patriots backfield, because everybody knows it's pretty much been going through Gillette and Lewis these last couple of weeks. You know, they've been the ones taking the majority of the carries. Lewis has been very much involved in the passing game as well. James White shows up here and there, but he hasn't been really featured as much as those other two guys. But tonight, he was there when Brady needed him again against the Atlanta Falcons. Solid game from James White. What did you see from him that, Patriots maybe have been missing these last couple of weeks?
I kind of disagree with you, Mike. I think actually James White's role has been the same throughout this whole year. This game, he just happened to get a touchdown. I mean, 4 rushes and 5 catches in this game. That's pretty much what you're going to get from James White. I mean, lately, in these past 2 weeks, we've seen a lot more Dion Lewis. Dion Lewis has come into his own. They finally unleashed Dion as the running back that we saw 2 years ago. But James White is still there. He's still there on third downs, catching it when you need it. And he made big plays this game, which stuck out. And against the Atlanta Falcons, like you were saying, is bittersweet. He was the guy who killed them. He should have honestly been probably MVP of that Super Bowl. He comes out here, and his numbers, he had 5 receptions for 28 yards and that big touchdown, like we were saying. 4 rushes for 19 yards. Solid game from James White. If he doesn't get that touchdown, I don't think we're really talking about James White in this game. When you have Gillette, you have Dion Lewis, and now Burkhead, he came back and he looked really good.
Sure did.
He looked, fresh legs out there. So it could be any of these guys' weeks. The only one who we know has a definite role in the running back is Gillette. He's going to get those 3rd and shorts, those goal line runs in there. But Dion Lewis lately has been taking that away from him a little bit. But yeah, 4-headed monster. All these running backs have looked good.
I agree 100%. It's good to have Burkhead back for sure. 4-headed monster. I don't think any other team in the NFL is pulling off something like that. I mean, you see a couple teams. Chicago Bears have Howard and Cohen. The Falcons have Freeman and Coleman. The Jets have Powell and Forte.
Yeah,
you want to really consider teams doing the dual back situation, but the Patriots are really rolling out here, and you never know which one of those 4 is going to hit you up week in and week out.
That could give defensive coordinators headaches.
Headache. Talk about a headache. The Falcons have nightmares that night about that Super Bowl. The 2 guys leading roles in that nightmare is Tom Brady and James White. And here comes a night where James White once again finds the end zone and is help burying the Falcons even more and have them take the loss. We got a lot of people,
Let's talk. What we talking about?
Got a lot of people tuning in, talking about. I'm happy for a lot of staying up late on the late night with us on the Sunday night after the game. This guy, Celticsburg again, says James White is a Kevin Falk type player, halfback that will give a couple of rushes and then works as a receiver, great in the I formation. I have to agree with you 100%.
Yes, perfect. No comment needed.
Shout out to my guy Teddy Gonzalez, who says he watches us after every Pats game. I appreciate it, man.
Teddy.
Always come on this live chat and talk to us. We always want to talk Patriots and whatever with you guys as well. Gotti Jr. once again says a thing that we were talking about earlier while the game was going on. Malcolm Mitchell, waiting for him to hopefully come back fully healthy and ready to go. You add him back into the mix of this lineup. Whew.
Now with that Malcolm Mitchell thing, it gets interesting. One, we never really heard the extent of his injury. We never really knew if it was. We knew he got a setback, but was it season ending? Was it going to be for the 8 weeks? And now you can only bring one guy out of IR. Is it going to be Malcolm Mitchell or is it going to be Valentine? You know that the Patriots defense was hurting, and they haven't been great at the run. So maybe you prioritize with Valentine or the receiver depth. Any guy can go down. We saw Chris Hogan today in this game, a little shaken up. He's been shaken up for the past couple of weeks. Amendola, as great as in clutch as he is, he's one hit from being out the game. Mm-hmm. So Patriots have a decision to make soon with whether you bring in Malcolm Mitchell or Valentine. We'll wait and see. Mitchell, man, if you guys know me, Mitchell's my guy. I want to see him out there. I've been rooting for this kid, but He needs to stay healthy, and that's another receiver who can play inside, outside. Whether it doesn't matter, and who knows how crazy this offense can be with the Malcolm Mitchell alongside Cooks and Hogan in them.
I mean, it'd be great and exciting to have Mitchell back. To talk again, a rookie who stepped up big time last year in his first year, especially in the Super Bowl. He had a couple key and solid catches against the Falcons in the game. But with all of that being said, I think as time is moving on and it gets deeper to the night, I don't want to waste any more time.
Wow.
We could get right into the stars and sorries of the night.
I'm interested to hear your picks on this one.
Start with the stars. Or star, I have one star for sure. And this is a guy who I just not too long ago spoke about stepping up. In my opinion, he's kind of been the forgotten man in the backfield. But when Brady needed him, again, against a team that he dominated before in the Super Bowl, James White, again, finished the game with 5 receptions, 28 yards, and he caught one of the touchdowns from Tom Brady. I feel sorry for the Falcons because the same guy that was scoring on you in the Super Bowl comes back again in Gillette Stadium. He scores on you to help them take the win. Got to give him credit. I give James White his first star of the night.
Yeah, James White, clutch, got that touchdown. He's forever going to be a star in New England history for that performance he did in that Super Bowl. And, it fitting in that Kevin Falk role that was mentioned earlier. He's been great for this team. And as long as these running backs stay healthy, this offense looks unstoppable. And a guy I'm going to give the star to is, a familiar face that we have not spoken about in this tonight at all, really. It's Tom Brady. Tom Brady, quiet game, a quiet, low-key, good game. 21 for 29, 249 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did get hit a couple of times in this game, but he controlled this offense. He picked apart the Atlanta defense. They only punted the ball twice during this whole game. It was a foggy, weird type of game. Halloween's coming up. Things were looking real spooky for Atlanta, and the reason was Brady. Brady did his thing this game. No crazy numbers. He's not going to win Offensive Player of the Week awards, but I'll take a 21 for 29, 2 touchdowns, 250 and a win any day.
No turnovers, no interception, no fumbles. Solid game.
He got kind of lucky.
Oh yeah, but
that got kind of lucky.
Came back on the penalty.
Yes, he threw an interception in the red zone. I mean, in the end zone, but it got called back because Atlanta's dumb. So luckily, Brady didn't throw that interception.
One thing I will say about Brady, yes, he got sacked twice tonight, and he probably took a couple more hits. But Brady's looking a lot more nimble in the pocket. He's dancing a little bit. He's getting his dancing feet on. Maybe doing some bachata and salsa with him back at the house, keeping his feet real nice over there because he's moving around in the pocket when he feels that pressure, thinks it's coming. And hey, I'm not mad at that at all, Brady. You keep moving, find your time, buy your time, and find those guys down the field because you graded it.
Oh, I got one more star.
Go ahead.
This is a guy, second week in a row now, taking over Stephen Gilmore's war. Joey Bad and Bougie, Bad and Woozy. He was great again. This guy.
Joey Bad and Bougie.
Joey Bad and Bougie, man. He had a great game, 7 tackles. I mean, he held his own against Sanu. Wherever they had him, he's been playing really well. And like I said, I'm excited to see him, be that third cornerback or fourth when Rowe comes in with Gilmore coming back. So Bad and Bougie did a great job in that secondary alongside Butler.
Hey, with all that good,
there's the bad.
And when you're bad on this show right here, we tell you, sorry. We usually like to choose out individuals sometimes who had a bad game, a sucky game, bad performance, whatever the case may be. But I think we can agree. Atlanta Falcons, man, oh man. Like I said in the beginning of the show, they have nightmares about the New England Patriots coming off the Super Bowl and how that game turned out, blowing the big lead, 28-3, all the narratives going into it and coming out of it. Man, oh man. I just don't think the Atlanta Falcons could get over that hump of facing the Patriots and dealing with them and just reliving the Super Bowl and how it went. Until they get like a new coaching staff, maybe a new owner, maybe a new quarterback, it's just going to be that same old, oh, but that's the team that blew the 28-3 lead.
28-3. 23-7 tonight. We just got one thing to tell you.
Sorry.
However, I have a separate sorry.
Oh.
It involves Atlanta.
Okay.
But it involves their head coach. Coach Quinn. No, Coach Quinn reminds me of, Mike.
Who does he remind you of?
You ever watch SpongeBob? You know Plankton? Plankton's always trying to get Mr. Krabs' secret formula. Sometimes he's so close.
Wow.
He's so close to getting the formula, and then something happens, and know what Mr. Krabs tells him? Sorry. Dan Quinn is the Plankton. Dan Quinn, Plankton, and Patriots are Mr. Krabs because he gets so close. Whether he was with the Seahawks, he finds a way to mess it up. Super Bowl, he finds a way to mess it up. Each time, he's so close to beating the Patriots, and he can't get there. And then tonight, it was just they got smacked around. So Dan Quinn, for being Plankton, I'm gonna give you a sorry.
Man, it just reminds me of 2003 or 4. I think it was 2003 when the Red Sox were facing the Yankees, and Pedro was going up against the Yankees, and the Yankees was just giving Pedro the business. In the post-game press conference, Pedro said, "You know what? I just got to take a seat and call the Yankees my daddy." Red Sox fans didn't like that. Yankees fan loved it, but I think in this situation, that's what the Falcons is doing right now. Dan Quinn especially, he leading the charge because is Falcons daddy right now. Sorry. Sorry. But with that all being said, the Patriots are home again next Sunday, taking on the Los Angeles Chargers at 1 o'clock. A Chargers team started off the season losing 4 straight. They've won 3 in a row.
They're looking good.
They just shut out the Denver Broncos earlier today.
Thanks.
So, in my opinion, I don't think there's anything to fear with the Chargers. Come to Gillette Stadium, a place where I still think is sacred ground.
I mean, when you randomly get fogs and make it real spooky.
Some funny business going on at Gillette Stadium.
It was real nice day out today. I don't know where that fog
must be October. It must be October, the Halloween run. That fall really came out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. So, hey, maybe that Gillette mystique is coming back. Maybe I might be biting my words, and you were right. That mystique might be reaching back. Chargers, it's not a game you can sleep on. Melvin Gordon, great running back. You got Keenan Allen out there as well. They got some receivers. You really know about the tight ends, Antonio Gates, Hunter Henry. The Patriots defense got some work to do again against this Chargers defense, but it should be a win.
Should be a win. Definitely have to build off the performance they had today against the Atlanta Falcons. We'll be here like we are after every Patriots game, holding it down on the post-game show. Any final words?
Show was great. Keep feeding us comments, at every show. Next week, I think we're going to have a little surprise next week.
It's going to be a little different
next week. So make sure you look out for that. But this is a great win for the Patriots, Mike.
Great win indeed. Again, this has been the Patriots post-game show on the CLNS Media Network. For Marvin Azan, I'm Mike Molyneux. See you guys next week.
We out.